we're going to talk about now is how do you plan your day as a resourcer? You may be thinking, well, I've got plenty to do. Why do I need to plan? Well, the challenge is as a resourcer, especially if you're serving a principal consultant or a partner in the organisation, is that if you get to the end of your day, whilst you might have felt you've been busy, if you haven't found the candidates that those client executive or business development directors need, then it doesn't really matter what you've done that day. So planning is absolutely key to make sure that not only you hit your goals, but you support the rest of the business hitting theirs. The challenge for most consultants when it comes to planning is that it's a really fast-paced environment is recruitment. And what that means is that your demands and the priorities that you have may change and shift through the day. So your plan has to be able to adapt to meet the needs of the business. So what do you need to plan? Well, the first thing you need in your daily plan is a list of all the hot jobs that you've got within your organisation. The reason being is you might be looking for one particular type of role, but you need awareness of all the jobs in the organisation to make sure if someone else passes you by, that you can pick that candidate up and put them forward to help your colleague, even though that might be not be a job that's a priority today. The next thing you need to be able to do is think about what proactive recruiting strategies am I going to do that day? Too often resources get trapped into doing reactive recruitment. And what I mean by reactive recruitment is they're only trying to find candidates for jobs that are going on today. And what that means is it's impossible or very difficult for them to find an inventory of candidates that enables them to beat everybody else because they've already generated those candidates. This means that you need to know what skill sets are always in demand in your local market. And that way, what you can do is make time every day to make sure you're posting adverts, maybe doing some proactive sourcing on LinkedIn or other social media, and even going back through candidates that your organisation has known from the past. Too often, reactive recruiting means that you spend all your time just searching job boards and LinkedIn trying to find new people, where actually there's plenty of candidates that you've known from the past within your organisation that are just a phone call away from being your latest exclusive candidate that you can place. The next thing you need to be able to plan is how are you going to be able to keep in touch with the existing candidates that you've got. It's very unlikely you're going to get leads or referrals from candidates if they don't have a relationship with them. And the only way you're going to build a relationship is by being in touch with them on a day-to-day basis. So every day you need to build calls into your plan, maybe only 5 or 10, to speak to people that you know are active in the market. And through them being active in the market, not only will they generate leads, but they'll also give you referrals and recommendations. For those of you that are resources but looking to move into a client executive role or a 360 role, the quickest way for you to move into that business development focus is by generating more leads than the business knows what to do with, and the only thing they're going to be able to left to do is to let you chase them. So how do you get the information that you need in order to build your daily plan? Well, communication is really important. And in an ideal world, your team will have a startup meeting every day where they will talk about what the most important roles are. If they don't, you need to make sure either before you leave in a night or the first thing you do when you get into a day is sit with the client executives that you're serving and working out what jobs do I really need to find someone for. And this should not be a passive exercise. What you should be doing is challenging the vacancies that you're getting given with the client executives to determine how likely are you to actually getting paid. Have we met the client? How fillable is this vacancy? Is it going to pay enough money? There's no point spending your whole day trying to find one candidate in the middle of nowhere for a 2-day booking. It's really important that not only do you value the time of the client executives, but you value the time of yourself as well. You also get this information just from your existing system. All your live jobs should be on that system. And what you'll be able to do from there is determine not just the vacancies that your existing colleagues have, but also around the wider organisation as well. And the last way to get this information is just through you organising your own candidate base and client base on a day-to-day basis. And so every day, every time you're on the phone through the day, if you're getting calls that you need to make the next day, you should be updating your plan. And so every day you should start your plan with at least 10 to 15 calls that are from the previous day's activity. So all this theory is great, but what it needs to do is really boil down to something that makes you efficient. And that comes down to documentation and organisation. So the most important thing that you need is a day plan. And that day plan is a list of 40, 50 or 60 calls that you need to make that day that hit your priorities. It's calls to candidates that might give you referrals, it's calls to candidates that will give you leads, but it's also calls to candidates that you might have identified in previous days that you know you're going to be able to generate and register in order to fill the active jobs that you've got. The other thing that you need to be good at organising is your candidates. And by having your active candidates well organised, it makes it really easy to build a daily plan. The last thing that you need to consider is, do you have a list of all the open vacancies? And hopefully you should be able to get this from a search of your system. If you can't get this from a search of your system, then you should at least be able to get it from the clients, executives or the customer service directors that you're serving in order to make sure you organise your time. So just to recap, the 3 core parts of your daily plan are a day book of all the people that you need to call that day, your candidate list of active candidates, and your list of open vacancies that you know you need to find people for. Good luck with your daily planning going forward.